I want you to think for a minute about something you really care about. This could be a hobby, your business, your family. It could be gardening, running. It could be sex. It could be experiences and eating good food. What is it that you really care about? I want you to think about something along those lines, and I want you to think about how many years you've put into fostering and cultivating that thing that you care about. How many restaurants have you gone to? If you're a foodie and you love food experiences, how many restaurants have you gone to over the years? How much time have you spent researching good restaurants to go to? How many trips have you gone on just specifically for food? How many people do you talk to about food? If it's running, how many years have you put in to understand how to be a good runner? How many miles have you clocked to get better, have it be easier? When I started running, my knees would hurt after 1 mile. Now I can run, I've run a marathon before in the backcountry at 11,000 feet. I could definitely not have gotten up one day and just done that. I took practice, I read, I talked to runners, I modified what I ate, I got up earlier. I dedicated so much time and energy to that. I want you to think, what is it for you that you're dedicating time and energy to? And I want you to think about how much you've persevered to be a badass at it. How much have you decided to take action in a direction to go, I love this thing so much that I'm willing to dedicate my precious time, energy, money, dollars, emotional energy, all of that to the success in this area. That's what it takes to be a badass in your business. That's what we're going to talk about today on this glorious, amazing day. It is the 100th episode of the Max Potential Habits podcast. So today I'm gonna talk about my reflections on the power of perseverance for this 100th episode celebration. This is a big deal to me. So if it's your first time here, and to you, and because we're together listening and you've been here with me through the ride, maybe it's your first time. If it is, I'm Dr. Amanda Barrientez. I'm the founder of the Max Potential Habits podcast, the host. My company is NFA Coaching, and we're going to dive super deep today into all of the things that I have done to persevere in this business, because I want it to inspire you to realize that there's no such thing as an overnight success. You know that this is your place to come every single week for tips, tools, and inspirational interviews to help you optimize your habits so you can thrive in your life and business. Just that statement alone that I just made has taken me time to figure out, because I've had to understand my audience, and I've gotten to work with different people. And as I put different episodes out there, I see, oh, here's what people want to hear. That's through your feedback and me showing up every single week. So perseverance is so powerful. Real quick, if you are listening to this podcast and liking it, I am doing a big giveaway for the 100th episode. If you're someone who has already left a review on iTunes, I want you to stop what you're doing right now, take a screenshot of your review and email it to me at mpHraffle@nfacoaching.com so you can be entered into the giveaway. If you have yet to do a review, it would be freaking awesome and amazing and wonderful, and I would be so grateful if you would take the time. It literally takes less than 5 minutes of your time. But here's the thing, most people will go, oh, I'll do it later. They forget. This is going to end on Sunday. Oh, I didn't look at the date. I think it's the 10th. Sunday the 10th, I believe. Let's see, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yes, the 10th at midnight Mountain Standard Time. That's the end of the raffle drawing. So if you want to get yours in, get it in. Stop what you're doing right now and just get it in, because you'll forget. I know you will. I do it all the time. I'll be like, oh, this podcast is amazing. I need to leave a review, and then I'll forget. So don't forget, because I want you to be entered into the drawing. I'm going to give away my top 5 books. It's hard to say top because I love books. But I'm going to give away 5 books that have helped me advance, and I'm going to give you free enrollment into the Inner Boss Bootcamp. This is a $497 value. $497. It's a 30-day boot camp. You're going to get it for free. So enter into it. If you're someone who wants to enter in and you're already in my boot camp, then you get an hour of free coaching with me. One-on-one, you can ask me any questions you want. I will help you specifically with your business. So it's either going to be a month in the boot camp, which gives you all kinds of awesome bonuses. It's actually a $10,000 value, or you can get time with me if you're already in the boot camp. So enter, plus you're going to get my top 5 free books. This is to celebrate the 100th episode. My loyal listeners, you're awesome. Thank you. So let's get into perseverance. Let's see here. So the definition of perseverance is persistence in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. I'm going to read that again because to me words are very powerful, and this is a powerful word that I want you to live your life by, build your business by, build happy relationships by, build the health of your body by. It takes perseverance, persistence in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. What this really is commitment, right? It's that NFA commitment where we go, I'm not fucking around. I am serious about what I want. I know what I want. I'm going to take action to get there. And I don't care if difficulty comes. I see difficulty as on the way instead of in the way. I see those as not obstacles, but stepping stones to my success. Whenever there's a delay or a roadblock, something like COVID is a huge difficulty and delay in most of our businesses and most of our lives. How fast can you pivot? Because you are willing to persevere, because you're willing to stay in it for the long haul, because you know that this is not a sprint. Building your business is a lifelong journey. Designing an incredible, conscious, fulfilling, meaningful life is a lifelong journey. It's not going to happen overnight. There is no such thing as an overnight success. I don't care who says that. You might be able to start up a business and have an overnight success if you've had previous business experience and already have an audience built, or already know where your clients are coming from, or customers, or those people that you work with. You might then be able to pretend you had an overnight success. But what about all those years of learning that you did before? What about any credentials you have? What about the downfalls? What about the challenges? What about the bankruptcies and the losing the house and the divorces and the affairs and on and on and on and on, right? Those are the things that I've experienced to get where I am today. And I'm going to go deep into this because I really want to share with you what it's taken for me to get where I am. You know, a lot of people go, wow, you are like, how have you done so much in a couple of years? It's because I've persevered. It's because I have committed. I've decided, committed, and taken action. Decide, commit, take action. If that is your mantra for the rest of your life, I promise you, you can get wherever you want to go. Because going back to that beginning question, when I said, think about something that you're really good at, that you really enjoy and that you care about, you cultivate it. You take time for it. You put energy into it. You love it. You feel inspired by it. And it doesn't matter when you fall down and have that delay, you persist anyway, right? Because you persevere, because you care about the outcome, because you're committed to your why, because you're connected to your why in that area, right? So that is what it takes to be a badass. And I don't think I'm any better than any of you listening. It's just that I've persevered, and I want you to do that too. So what I want is to highlight that there's no such thing as an overnight success, like I've said. Okay, so I'm going to give you my timeline, and I'm going to give you some of my backstory. So if you've been listening to Max Potential Habits through the 100th episode or since the first episode, you know a lot of my story, and I'm just going to recap it really fast. I started into coaching because I was in grad school. I had an affair. I left my 15-year marriage through having an affair, and my next relationship was falling apart. My ex-husband lost his job, and he actually had emailed me and said that he didn't want to be my friend anymore. This was where we were at. This was years ago. And when I got this email, I'm sitting on the floor. My partner had moved out that day, and I'm sitting on the floor crying. And I'm looking at this email from him, and the subject line said something about boundaries. Like he wanted me to put the suitcases on the sidewalk when we exchanged kids, and he didn't want to connect with me anymore because he was trying to step into this new relationship, and he needed the boundaries to be clean. And I was like, oh my God, I just lost my best friend. I lost my family. I created this, right? And of course, affairs are complicated. It's not like I take 100%. I can take my 100% of the responsibility. He has his. We've talked about it, and we're dear, dear friends now. But at that moment, when I was sitting there going, I am a wreck. Things are not working out. And now my ex-husband he lost his job. So here I am, no child support. I'm in grad school with 3 kids. I had 2 of my kids full time. One of them was, my son was going back and forth, and I was like, how am I going to eat? I don't know where I'm going to live. Like, it was terrifying. And I started calling around places. No one would, the cost of living in Boulder is really, really high. So I was just going, oh crap, I don't know where I'm going to live. And that's a terrifying feeling. I don't know how many of you listening have been there, but it's scary when you don't know where you're going to live, especially when you have kids, because, if I'm by myself, I can live in my car if I have to. But when you have kids, that's not the easiest option, right? So luckily I got into subsidized housing in Boulder, and I took out maximum amount of student loans that I could, and I was getting paid a little bit of a stipend for instructing at CU Boulder, and I was getting free counseling because they offer that through Boulder if you're a grad instructor. And so I was going to free counseling, and my counselor was like, you gotta go on food stamps, just get over yourself, basically. She was she was very good at tough love. She's like, get over your shame around this. That service is there for you perfectly in this situation. You're trying to finish grad school so that you can have a different life, and you need to be able to feed your kids, or you're going to have to drop out and work, and then you'll never get out of this hole, basically. And so I went and applied, and it was awful. It was I felt so much shame around it, and I felt a lot of fear around constant poverty, just like survival mode level poverty. Like, if anything goes wrong, I'm screwed. Like, if the car did break down, right? The car broke down, and then I'm like, how am I going to get my kids around? I mean, it's such an awful feeling to be at that level of not having money. I didn't have credit cards because my ex-husband and I had gone through bankruptcy several years before that. So I wasn't able to get credit cards. So I literally had no savings and no money in the bank and a very, very limited income. So I'm going through that. I'm going through all these relationship challenges. And my daughter's writing letters, her scholarship letters, or I guess essays, and I'm helping her write these essays. And they basically are all talking about, how our position of poverty and her perspective on that by living in a really wealthy community, and how she, feels marginalized. And I'm helping her write these essays and just going to bed crying every night. It was hard. It was one of the hardest parts of my life. And I'm so incredibly grateful for it because I persevered. I knew that I needed to finish my doctorate so that I could have a way out. And at the same time, I started turning to podcasts, because going back to that night when I was sitting on the floor crying and going, I'm the center of my problems, I started realizing that I need to change me if I want to have a fulfilling, connected relationship. So I started listening to relationship podcasts, and that sent me down this road where I started to meet different people and realize that I could change my relationship reality. I could change my money reality. And I started taking steps in that direction. My why got so strong that nothing could stop me. And that's why I'm on the 100th episode of the Max Potential Habits podcast, because I know my why. My why is to help myself and other people get inspired to do whatever it takes to transform into the most empowered versions of themselves so they can lead rich, thriving, fulfilling, kick-ass lives and businesses. That is my mission. That is my quest. And what does that take? It takes me staying in the game. It takes me learning consciousness. It's brought me to understanding metaphysics, quantum physics, sociology, psychology, behavioral sciences. I'm learning DeMartini method. I'm a trained facilitator in the DeMartini method. I've got values determination, which to me has to do with stepping into your zone of genius. I've taken out loan money to get into workshops that I knew were going to change my life, because I was willing to invest in myself, because I knew that if I invested in myself and put in the work and put in the time and put in the energy, I could persevere. I could get unstuck. But I had to have that belief planted into me, and I took action every single day. I'm saying these things to inspire you. Because wherever you're at in your life right now, wherever you're at in your business right now, I'm recording this on May 4th, and it's during COVID. There's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of uncertainty. And no matter where you are in that process, you can succeed. I promise you, if you stay in the game, you can succeed. There might be some delays, there might be some difficulties, but if you persevere, you can succeed. Okay, so timeline wise, as this was all happening, I decided in my business, I'm going to give you the business timeline. I LLC'd in 2017. I went to this DeMartini workshop that I borrowed money for. I figured out a way to be there. I came up with $2,000 in a couple days because I was like, I have to be there. I absolutely know it. I don't know if you've ever felt something so deep in the core of you where you're like being called to do something and you just know you've got to make it happen. That was the level of commitment I was at. I thought, I went to this workshop he did. It was a couple hours and I took almost 20 pages of notes and I just was writing like fire in my fingers. And I was like, this is the coolest information I've ever heard in my life. I see how this could empower me in a totally different direction. And when he announced that the upcoming weekend he was doing his signature breakthrough experience in Denver, I was like, I have to be there. I don't care what it takes. I have to be there. And I figured out a way. And I'm so thankful that I made that decision because that decision pivoted me into who I am today, into this business that I have today, into helping people today, into doing this podcast right now. So I want you, whatever decision you're trying to face and you're wanting to make and you're needing to make to up level, commit, decide, take action, decide, commit, take action, decide, commit, take action, right? You can do it if you know your why and if you're willing to do the work and face yourself and show up and persevere, right? Persevere. Okay. So 2017, I LLC'd. But I was in the middle of grad school and I LLC'd and I called my company Amanda Barrientez Institute because I was like, ooh, I want to be an institute where it's a resource center for people to learn how to transform, which is still what I'm creating, but I rebranded to NFA because I got good feedback about it. And most people didn't know what ABI meant. People would call me Abby and I was like, okay, I got to rebrand. This isn't working. But here I am in grad school and I've got a couple years left, right? Like it was February, so I had a year and a half of grad school left. I'm doing my research, working with incarcerated men, doing life history interviews, understanding their experiences of trauma and transformation. But I was really excited to start coaching. So I decided, I'm going to do a workshop and I'm going to start getting some clients and I'm going to start building my website. What did I face here? Serious imposter syndrome. So for those of you stepping into a new business, do you ever feel like you're a fraud? Do you think you don't know what you're doing and it keeps you held back? Do you struggle with perfectionism? These are all the things that came up for me. I'm no different from you. They came up for me, but I persevered and I kept taking action anyway. I kept doing it. So, it was like I tried to make my website perfect and I hyper focused on it. And I look back now and I go, oh, that was a serious avoidance strategy. I was scared. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to talk to people about what I was doing. I was scared to put on the coach hat because here I am in grad school thinking I'm going to be a professor. And I knew that the people in academic world weren't going to like that I was going into coaching. And so I was struggling with identity and where to go. But I also knew this is working for me, so I know it can work for other people. And I've always had that huge heart that's like, if I can help people master themselves and have those light bulb moments where they shift in a new direction and make their life better, I want to be a part of that. That was why I loved teaching at university. I could see the light bulbs going off in my students and it was incredible. It's incredible when someone asks you a question and you see something from a completely different perspective. And that's what I get to do in coaching. And at the time I knew this is really what I'm called to do. At my core, I'm a teacher, right? I'm a born lover of teaching, learning first, and then teaching what I'm learning to people to help them thrive. That's really what I love to do. And so, here I am going, okay, I got to start a workshop. And I start this workshop and it was 10 people that came to my first workshop and it was a relationship workshop and it was awesome. If any of you are listening that are from that core 10 original, I love you. Thank you for being there. And I set it up as a series, but then what happened is I started writing my dissertation. And I was like, oh crap, this is going to take a lot more work than I thought. Like I really really wanted to step into full-time coaching. And I knew that if I had a split divided attention, I wasn't going to finish my dissertation. And here I am 5.5 years in at that time into my PhD. And I thought, I got to finish this. And I look at that again as perseverance, right? I could have quit. I could have given up. I could have said, oh, I'll just go to the coaching. But I had put so much time and energy in and into the men that I worked with doing those life history interviews. I wanted their stories to be shared. So even though the dissertation was one of the hardest things I've ever done, probably other than parenting, I decided to finish. So I decided to drop the workshop and focus solely on doing my dissertation. So I dropped all this momentum I had in building my coaching business. I had a couple clients, I had a workshop going, and I had people starting to ask me, and then I dropped it because I knew I had to finish my dissertation so I could get to the coaching in a more powerful way. And so I dropped it. So then in May of 2018, I graduated. I had a huge keg celebration party because it's important to remember to celebrate yourself and your successes. This week, wherever you are in your listening adventure right now, I want you to think of something you can do this week to celebrate how awesome you are. You're listening to this podcast, you're building a business, maybe it's a side hustle, you might also be a parent, you also might be in a relationship. Like, there's a lot going on in the world that we can focus on all the things we still need to do. Instead, I want you to remember to be present in the beingness of who you are now. What have you already accomplished? How awesome are you for persevering to this point? Do something to celebrate yourself. So for me, I was like, that party that I was planning on having, I had like 70 people there, and I invited everyone I knew. I was like, let's celebrate together. This is a huge accomplishment. I'm a first-gen college student. It was like a big deal. And I celebrated myself, and I want you to do the same for you, because that's what gets you through. That's where you get to reward yourself, and that's where you set up a brain loop where you have a positive association. You actually rewire your brain to focus when you focus on the things that you've done that have been awesome, right? So you want to make sure that you're not always just looking forward and thinking you're never there yet, because you're already there in your being. Right? Remember the be, do, have model. It's not have, do, be, where, once I get there, then I'll be happy. It's be happy now. Reward yourself now. Love yourself now. Persevere in the now. All of those things. So do something nice to celebrate yourself. That's one action step for you. Do something to celebrate yourself this weekend. Okay, so then I had this party, and then that summer, I said, okay, I'm going to do a couple of coaching workshops. So I went to a Brendan Burchard event, and I went to a DeMartini event to get certified in values. And those were my rewards to myself. But I also was like, I got to freaking hustle, because basically what I did is I took out full student loans, and I had about 10 grand in the bank saved so that I could get my business going. $10,000. This wasn't much money. This is $10,000 for like all my living expenses and getting my business started. And so I knew I got to hustle. So I went to every networking event I possibly could. I started talking to people. I had no idea what I was doing. No clue. Never built a coaching business before. I've had businesses of my own before, but it was always, I sold bicycle helmets through eBay, and I did some real estate investment stuff with my dad. Very, very different than building a coaching business all on my own with a PhD in sociology that really, doesn't have a lot to do with building a business or coaching. And so, but I was on fire. I knew my why. Again, I cannot tell you the power of connecting with your why and following through and persevering. Like, know what your why is. What is your driving force that gets you up inspired every single day? Ask yourself this. And if every single morning you get up and you say, what are the 3 to 5 highest priority action steps that I can take today to fulfill my why, to fulfill my vision? And you do them every single day, that's you persevering, and I promise you your success is inevitable. You will succeed. So that's what I did. I was on fire, and I thought, okay, I got 10 grand. And every month as it was going down, I was like, I'm not sure what's going to happen here. But then I started getting clients. And then I had this really interesting opportunity where one of my professors called me and said, we had a professor pass away in our department, and he was teaching sex, gender, and society, which was the class that I had taught. for the last several semesters. And so I already had the curriculum built. I knew exactly how to do it. And it was in the honors department, which is, I always said, oh, I would love to teach in the honors department because it's really serious students who really want to be there. And they're small classes. There were 12 students in each class. And so I debated because here I am, I'm very focused on my why of building my coaching business. But in my mind, I was clear that this was on the way to helping me build my coaching business. You know, we always need to ask ourselves, are we getting distracted with shiny objects? Are we afraid? And that's why we're not committing fully. You know, you got to become a self-reflective person in whatever it is that you're doing. And in that, I sat with it for a couple days and I thought, okay, is this a distraction? Is this shiny object? Is this me being afraid? Or is this me going, I'm not totally there yet in my business, so it makes sense to take this on, even though it's like the crappiest pay to be an adjunct professor, unfortunately. I don't understand why we pay our educators so badly. But it was also some money doing something I love to do that would support me in building my business. So I said yes. And it, you know, I loved every minute of teaching, and simultaneously my business started to boom. So here I am doing both. And that's what we're called to do sometimes, right? And in some ways it was a delay, and in some ways it was a movement forward because I now had, you know, more financial security, and I got to continue teaching, doing what I love, but really my heart and soul was in coaching. So when they asked me to teach again, I said no. So I went full-time in 2019. January of 2019, I went to full-time coaching, and I started the Max Potential Habits podcast on March 19th was the first episode release. So here we are about 14 months later, we're at episode number 100. And since then, y'all listen to this. I mean, I have put my heart and soul into this business. I have put my heart and soul into helping people, and it has paid off. I want you to really, if your only takeaway today from this podcast is that when you connect with your why and you declare it and you really know what you want and you take consistent daily action because you've decided and you've persevered, you can move mountains. I went from that moment when in 2019, you know, so it's January 1st, 2019, and I'm going like, I'm in all the way. You know, I was making a couple $1,000s a month in my coaching business. That's it. And I thought, okay, if I can just get to 4,000, then if I can get to 5 and 6, and then my big goal was in 2019, I want to break 6 figures. I had no idea how that was going to happen. I really didn't. I just thought, I know I'm committed and I know I can hold the vision for it, and I'm just going to keep taking action. And if it happens, awesome. And if it doesn't, I did my freaking best. And it happened. And there were lots of twists and turns along the way. I moved. I found out my partner was having an affair. That alone is, those two are two of the biggest stressors, right? So I went through like a divorce. I've been with this person for a long, long time. And you know, it's for the best. Him and I are friends. We've figured out how to repair, and it was also necessary. So, you know, I want you to reflect on, as you grow, who do you need to let go of? That's really how my life has unfolded as I've done more and more personal growth and development work. Things have dropped away that don't align anymore. And, you know, it's not that my ex-partner's a bad person. You know, we all do crazy things, and you're not the worst thing you've ever done. And he has a block there that he's working through, right? But here's the thing, we don't align anymore. Our trajectories are not the same. I'm going in one direction, he's going in another. And sometimes on this journey, you've got to let some things go. So I want you to ask yourself, on my journey to fulfill my highest vision and be my highest expression of myself, to be fully authentic, fully revealed, fully committed to stepping into my zone of genius and expanding in abundance and love and success every single day and inspiring others to do the same, what do you need to drop? Who do you need to drop? These are important questions because often we think it's that we need to add something, or we need to add more to the plate, right? Or that we need to feel guilty and carry people along with us. But I think it's a really powerful question to let go, to ask yourself, what do I need to let go of? What do I need to drop? What do I need to let go of? What am I resisting? Remember, we talked about in the avoidance strategy episode, what you resist persists. So what you focus on expands. So the funny thing is, when you're resisting something, you're actually subconsciously focusing on that thing that you're resisting. So that's why it expands and it takes over your life. Is there something you need to face right now? Do you need to admit to yourself that you have an issue with something that you need to start working on, where you need to decide, commit, and take action in a new direction? This is a habits podcast, right? Your mindset is a habit, and your mindset is the way that you think, that you habitually think about yourself, others, and the world. Right? And those belief systems turn into your decisions, and your decisions become your outcomes. So you've got to decide to do something new based on that belief that you deserve it, that you're worthy, that you're good enough, that you're smart enough, that you deserve to live a meaningful and fulfilling life. But you've got to be the one who decides these things. You've got to be the one who gets self-reflective enough to go, what do I really want? Who am I? What do I want to become? And who is going to be with me on that journey? Who is paralleling me and wanting to keep pace? Where are we pulling each other up instead of having people drag you down? So a lot of times when we're stuck in that victim space, either we're dragging people down or we're allowing them to drag us down. So if you notice yourself complaining in a relationship a lot, you got to do some work. You've got to go, okay, where can I own my responsibility? Is this me? Where do I need to see my parts? What do I need to say that's not being said? Who do I need to talk to as a resource to help me up level? Because obviously you're stuck in this dynamic in that relationship. So those are all the things that I got to do when this happened to me, but it was a huge delay, right? It was a huge difficulty and delay. One of the first things, when I found out, I was like, oh, my business, my life, like I had so much good momentum going in my business, and it was such a huge disruption and such a huge disruption's the best word I can think of right now. It was a big disruption. It was scary. It was hard. I had to face things in myself I didn't want to face. I had to face things in my past I didn't want to face, or that I was resisting facing. I faced, even relationship going all the way back to my brother when I was little. We had a very challenged relationship. I faced things there. And all of that goes on while we're building our business. It doesn't just fall away. So this is the cool thing about entrepreneurship, is that it becomes a huge part of your life, right? Unless you're doing a side hustle that's very minimal, and you probably wouldn't be listening to this if that were the case or following me. But let's say that it's just kind of a side hustle and you just want to make 20 grand a year to have extra income for your vacations. That might be the case. And then your highest value might be travel. And that's cool, right? For me, my vision is to make a huge impact in the world. I want to reach 5 million people minimum through my business, through podcasts and books and speaking and workshops and one-on-one coaching and group coaching and all the things that you see me doing. That to me is my quest in life. I want to help people thrive, including myself, including my kids, including my family, including my ex-husband and my ex-partner. I love these people. Because I love myself and I value myself, and I simultaneously know when it's time to let go and when it's time to drop a relationship that's no longer in alignment. So for you, again, ask yourself, what do I need to face that I'm not facing? It might not be a relationship drop for you, but maybe it's a habit drop. Maybe it's that you're drinking too much, or maybe it's that you're watching pornography obsessively, or maybe there's so many things that we use as avoidance strategies to take us away from stepping into our zone of genius and facing ourselves head on. So I really want you to get to that self-reflective, kind of scary place where you go, I want to know myself fully. Even if it's scary, I want to persevere through the delays and the difficulties so that I can create the exact life and business of my dreams. Because you get this one life, you get this one body. How are you going to take care of it? And what are you going to create with it? You could literally decide that you have a magic wand to create whatever you want if you believed in yourself. Right? So remember, one of my favorite quotes is, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will run your life and you will call it fate. That's Carl Jung. What do you need to get conscious of today? What do you need to face? What do you need to drop? What do you need to focus on more powerfully? How do you need to get clarity about your why? What kind of actions do you need to take to step into your zone of genius? What is your zone of genius? Who are you? These are the questions that I've asked myself over the last year as I've accessed the power of perseverance to get where I am. Do I have certainty that my business is going to work? Heck yes. Because I'm willing to persevere, because I have decided, committed, and I take daily action. Will I get everywhere I want to go as fast as I have written down in my goals? Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'll get there faster. But it doesn't matter because I know I will get there because I am willing to persevere. I want you to do the same. And you're only going to do that if you know exactly what matters most to you. So today, your action steps, my call to action for you is first to decide, commit, and take action. Okay? So in this decide part, I want you to decide what you want. Think of this as your why and your vision. What do you really, really, really want? What are you not letting yourself have because you don't think you don't deserve it? What are you not letting yourself have because you're afraid to face yourself? What are you not letting yourself believe you can have because you don't want to outshine other people? Or you're using avoidance strategies thinking that somewhere down the road that's going to magically go away. You've got to decide to be the most empowered version of yourself. You've got to decide to lean in and change your habits, change your mindset, be powerful, align your beliefs with masterful action. That's up to you. No one's going to do that for you. Okay, so decide what you want, know what you want. Okay, then you're going to commit to fulfilling your vision, which means you know your vision and you know your why, and you're willing to allow yourself to start to pursue it, to start to believe it. You're going to do the mindset training work that needs to be done to believe in yourself. And I am telling you, my Inner Boss Boot Camp, it's $497. It is a powerful way to do mindset training to help you get into these directions faster. And of course, this is a shameless plug for it, but at the same time, it's not. It's my heart and soul poured into a 30-day program that will help you beyond measure, like ROI 50-fold. So if you are struggling somewhere in your mindset, take that boot camp. It gives you access to me. It gives you access to free group coaching. It gives you 30 days of tools. Like take it. That's a very powerful decision you can make. Okay, then I want you to commit to fulfilling your vision, and then I want you to take consistent daily action toward your goals. And when I say take consistent daily action, it means that you get up every morning and you ask yourself, like I said earlier, what are the top 3 to 5 highest priority action steps I can take today to fulfill my vision, to step into my zone of genius, to fulfill my purpose, to align with my why. That's what you want to ask yourself every single morning. And then I want you to repeat that every day for the next 10 years. 10 years or 15, right? Like this is a journey. Your business is a journey. Your life is a journey. You're never really going to get to the destination because it's a journey. Every year I learn so many new things about myself, and I up-level into a new version of me that I didn't even know was possible. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, honestly, even 6 months ago, I do not think I would have ever guessed who I would be today, but I kept being dedicated to allowing myself to unfold into the most empowered version of myself. And that empowered version of myself just keeps up-leveling, right? I take these quantum leap growth steps that I don't plan them. They happen because I'm committed to being the most empowered version of myself. I persevere through the delays and the challenges and the difficulties, and I keep taking action, right? And I surround myself with people like you who are committed and driven and determined and desirous of creating an expansive, fully expressed life. So let me recap. I want you to decide, commit, and take action. So decide what you want. This is your why and your vision. Commit to fulfilling your vision and take consistent daily action toward your goals by asking yourself every day, what are the top 3 to 5 highest priority action steps I can take today to fulfill my vision and to align with my why and to step into my zone of genius. And then I want you to keep repeating that and then know that your success is inevitable. you can get where you want to go, I promise you. And don't forget to enter the raffle by midnight on the, let's see, I don't remember. It's funny, I don't have the date with me. Let's see, May 7th, I believe, is Thursday. So Friday 8, Saturday 9. Yeah, so Sunday the 10th. Okay, so Sunday is the cutoff. If you want to enter into that raffle for the free boot camp, you're going to get that's a $497 value. Really, it's $10,000 because there's so many cool bonuses in there. If you want to check that out so that you can see what you're opting into, it's innerbossbootcamp.com. Enter the raffle and step up your game powerfully. And I'm also going to send you 5 of my favorite books that have helped me get where I am today. So don't forget to do that. Stop what you're doing right now. Do the iTunes review. Take a screenshot. Send it to mphraffle@nfacoaching.com. It'll take you less than 5 minutes. And it would be so awesome because here's the thing. I pour my heart and soul. I think you all know that. If you're a loyal listener, you know how much I care and you know what I bring to the table every week. I don't have any sponsors. I pay all of this out of my pocket. I have a team that helps me with podcast development. Shout out to Danielle, who rocks. She just graduated from college and she is a rock star. She helps me with my podcast every week. I have another social media strategist, Zach, who does awesome work too, that you see on all of the social media stuff that I put out there. So I have an awesome team. And I love what I do, and I put this podcast out there for free for you every week because I know that podcasts can change your life because they did for me. So it would be really, 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 really awesome and helpful if you would leave an iTunes review and a written review and a rating because it helps me move up in iTunes. We've got 14,000 downloads now, and we're in over 50 countries. How cool is that? And it's only been a little over a year that I've been doing this. That's what you can create when you decide, you commit, and you take action. All right. That was fun. I wish you were all sitting here with me and we could do big high fives and have a big 100th celebration, 100th episode celebration, because this is a really cool big day for me. Like, I didn't know what I was doing when I started podcasts. I had no idea. It was like, okay, I'm taking the leap because I know that podcasts are awesome. I went for it, and here we are at the 100th episode, and I'm not stopping anytime soon. So thank you for being here with me. I'm super grateful for you. I hope you have an incredible, phenomenal max potential week where you thrive and feel alive. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Max Potential Habits podcast. If you're liking what you've heard, it would be so incredibly awesome if you would subscribe to the channel and leave a 5-star rating and a written review. This helps me help more people while we grow our NFA community so we can rock it out together. For Max Potential Habits resources, go to nfacoaching.com where you can access all of my resources. There's free ebooks, PDF checklists, a journal template, a business mindset meditation kit, and so much more. Plus, links to NFA coaching on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And if you're super serious about up-leveling, there's also a link to schedule a free consult to work with me in group or one-on-one coaching. Until next time, I hope you have a Max Potential Habits Day where you get inspired to do whatever it takes to transform into the most empowered version of yourself so you can lead a rich, thriving, kick-ass life and business.